Hi everyone, so today all of you will watch a video about lab safety and health awareness. So enjoy!
Assalamualaikum and hi to all of you. My name is Anissa Jiha binti Ibrahim.
Hi and Assalamualaikum. My name is Muhammad Syafiq bin Ma'afiz.
Hi, I'm Anis Nurbaiti Azahari.
Hi, I am Nurbalkis binti Arif.
Assalamualaikum and hi everyone, I'm Zulfa.
Today I will explain to you about definitions in safety and health awareness. Firstly, safety. What is safety? Safety is the condition of being protected against physical, social, occupational, or other types of failure, damage, accident, or any other event which could be considered non-desirable. Accident. What is accident? Accident is an unexpected or unplanned event that occurs through a combination of causes which may result in physical harm, damage to property, a loss, or any combination of these effects. Hazard. What is hazard? Hazard is a situation with a potential for harm in terms of human injury or ill health, damage to property, and damage to environment. Risk is a combination of the likelihood of a hazardous event occurrence with specified period or circumstances and the severity of injury or damage to the people's health, property, environment, or any combination of these caused by the event.
There are 9 types of hazard symbols in a science lab. 1. Explosive, which is the chemicals and preparation that can cause an explosion. The symbol for this hazard is an exploding bomb. For example, is sodium azide. 2. Flammable, which is the chemicals and preparation that may catch a fire when in contact with air or can be highly flammable when in contact with water. The symbol for this is a fire. For example, is the acetylene. 3. Oxidizing, which is the chemicals that can react exotomically with other chemicals. Exotomically, which is the release of energy to the surroundings. For example, is sulfuric acid, H2SO4. 4. Gas under pressure, which is gas that's stored under pressure that can be exploded if heated. The symbol for this hazard is gas cylinder. For example, is penintine. 5. Corrosive, which is the chemicals that can destroy the living tissue when on contact. It also can cause skin burns and eye damage. For example, is hydrochloric acid, HCl, as it is a strong acid. 6. Toxic, which is the chemicals that at a very low level can cause damage to health. And it also can cause fatal and can be very toxic if swallowed, inhaled, and when in contact with skin. For example, is mercury. That's why we need to be extra careful when we are handling mercury in our experiment. 7. Health hazard, which is the chemicals that can cause damage to our health and also known to be caution. The symbol for this is an exclamation mark. For example, is nitrogen, as it can cause respiratory problems. 8. Serious health hazard, which is the chemicals that can cause serious and long-term damage to health. For example, is benzene, as it can cause the damage to our vital organs and also can cause cancer. The symbol for this hazard is a person with damage. And lastly, 9. Dangerous for environment, which is the chemicals that can give immediate or delayed danger to one or more components of our environments. The symbol for this hazard is the dead tree and fish. For example, pesticides. Pesticide is chemical compounds that can be very toxic to the aquatic life if it flows to the river, as it can give long-lasting effects or deaths to the aquatic organisms such as fish, amphibians, frogs, and also plants.
We say and hear the words accidents and incidents nearly every day in our lives. They are so familiar, right? However, do you actually know the exact meaning and difference between these two? Firstly, accidents are unexpected events that may result in property damage and thus result in injuries or illness to a person, such as student or an employee. Incidents, on the other hand, are unexpected events that may result in property damage but does not result in injuries or illness to a person. We also call it as near misses. So, all accidents are incidents, but not all incidents are accidents. There are three categories of law for causes of accidents that we should all know, which are basic cause, indirect cause, and direct cause. Now, let's study this diagram together. From basic cause, for example, poor management, safety policy and decisions, personal and environmental factors will lead to indirect causes, which are unsafe acts and conditions. Next, these two things will surely trigger direct causes such as unplanned release of energy and or hazardous material. Eventually, personal injury and property damage will happen, which we call the accidents. Let's see some of the example. Take a look on this situation. It can be in a lab or in any other places. The unsafe condition is the X is stored in the cabinet insecurely. Then, this guy is doing an unsafe X, which he casually opened the cabinet without any safety equipment or attire. Look, he's just wearing socks and no shoes at all. Near miss can happen where the X almost falls on his toes. But still, it's very frightening, isn't it? Not to mention if the accident really happened where the X really falls onto his toes and causes massive injuries that we don't even want to imagine. Also, look onto this situation in a lab. I'm sure you can identify many hazards and what are the problems made by this irresponsible lab guy. Let's take a look on some of them. First of all, not just he's not wearing shoes, which it is a very basic rule to be in lab, he's also carelessly eating with those gloves on, which we are very sure that the gloves might be contaminated by the chemicals that he had used. Look at the trefoil symbol behind him as well. Remember, an exposure to radiation, even to a small amount, over a long time it can raise the risk of cancer, and for a short time, skin burns can also happen. Please don't sit like that, no matter where you are, especially in a lab. Remember, always obey the rules in the lab and listen to your teacher or lab instructor if anything happens.
So I'm going to talk about hazard identifications. So all of you kids would be more prepared and you will be able to detect any hazards to prevent any misfortune. Okay, first, you have to analyze and evaluate the hazards. Means that you have to identify any undesired event that might occur, or you have to identify the thing that might cause them. Okay, why you have to do this kind of hazards identification? It is because you have to be alert of your surroundings. So you, all of your friends, your teachers, and also your lab assistant will be safe from any hazard that might cause them injuries. Okay, so we got three types of hazards. First, we got safety hazards. The second one, we got health hazards. And the third one, we have environmental hazards. Okay, first we go through with safety hazards. So what is safety hazard? Safety hazard is a force that is strong enough to cause any injuries. So for example, we got uncovered wires on the floor in the lab. The uncovered wires might cause someone to be tripped. So that person might have a bruise on her or his forehead. So that is considered safety hazards. The uncovered wires is the safety hazard. Okay, so what's about health hazards? Okay, health hazard is any agents that can cause any illness to us. The most obvious one is solvent. There are too many solvents in our lab, right? And some of them are really corrosive, and some of them really can make us feel suffocated. So that is considered health hazards. Okay, we reach the last one, the environmental hazard. So what is environmental hazard? Environmental hazard is anything that could harm our environment. So for example, we have oil spillage. The oil that is spilled on the sea can pollute our water source and can endanger our marine life. So that is considered environmental hazard. So I guess all of you are clear, right, about why we have to identify the hazards and how many types of hazards we have. So how to identify the hazards? So to identify the hazards, the most simple method is just inspect the lab and the workplace for any hazards. Maybe we have safety hazards, health hazards, and even environmental hazards. So just inspect for it. And the second way is you can check the record of any hazardous substances. So that's why you have to be more aware and memorize the hazard symbols so that you won't mishandle them. Okay, that's all. Thank you.
And so for today, I'm going to talk about risk management. So what is actually risk management? Risk management can be defined as a total procedure of identifying a hazard, assessing the risk, giving a control measure, and reviewing the outcome. However, risk can be defined throughout the formula of risk equal to severity multiplied with likelihood of occurrence. Next, let's take a look about what is actually severity and likelihood is. Likelihood is an event which has the probability to occur within a specific period or in a specific circumstances, while severity is the outcome from an event such as severity of injury or health that could cause harm towards the environment or to the workers inside. And here is, can risk be assessed? And the answer is yes. For risk analysis that uses likelihood and severity quantitative method, we're going to use the risk matrix method. To use this method, we must first find the severity column followed by the likelihood row. The risk level is given by the box which the row and the column makes. As we all know, risk can be defined using the formula of likelihood multiplied with severity. Let's take a look at this column. For an example, when we have a likelihood of 5 and a severity of 5, we're going to get a total number of 25, which is located in the red box. And this means that it is a high risk which requires immediate action to control the hazard. Next, as we can see, there is a yellow color in the middle of the box, and this yellow color means it is a medium risk. A medium risk requires a planned approach to control the hazard and apply temporary measure if required, but it is not as severe as the high risk. However, if we have a small number of severity and a small number of likelihood, we're going to get a total amount of a small number in the green boxes. The green boxes identify that it is a low risk. A low risk may be considered unacceptable and further reduction may not be necessary. And there you go, you get the level of risk that you are searching for based on the risk matrix. If there is a risk, we must do all we can to control the hazard. Therefore, control is the elimination or inactivation of hazard in such a manner that the hazard does not pose a risk to the worker who work in an area or work by using an equipment in a scheduled work. Therefore, hazard can be controlled using these three methods. The first one is elimination and substitution. The second one is engineering control and administrative control. And the last one is by using personal protective equipment or PPE. And that's all for risk. Thank you.